Some quick background. I've always been ambitious and started a bakery pretty young. I was able to do it through a family loan, which I'm grateful for, and a lot of grit and insane hours. The dedication led me to miss out on a lot of things. While I'm incredibly proud to have built something that's turned into a super popular spot in my neighborhood, I've definitely missed out on a few things. One of which is that I'm 35 and single/childless. Although I have no regrets, I do want to find love. This is a topic of frequent discussion during family dinners with my parents and sister. It's not an unwelcome discussion, and my parents don't nag. They ask everyday things like, "How was that coffee date last week?" Or, "Did you like so-and-so?" And if things don't work out, they don't say anything much. Usually, it's not a sad discussion, but this week, I was sharing a bigger than usual disappointment in a recent failed date. We'd gone out a few times and I thought it would turn into something, but our schedules were incompatible. After hearing this, my sister piped up. She said she wasn't surprised because I had a negative and unfeminine aura that turns away men. My parents tried to shut her up, but she just kept going on and on about how men would find my energy aggressive because I set too many boundaries. She ended by saying that I should try manifesting a positive love story, and that by going into relationships with negativity, I was manifesting failure. I was honestly so mad at this point that I just blurted out, "Well, maybe if you manifested a job, you wouldn't be fighting with Tom," her children's father, over child support payments. She has 2 kids with Tom, split 50-50 custody, and tries to live off of her child support payments by staying with my parents. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that, except she always complains about not having nice things, i.e., she wanted a Chanel bag and was jealous her friend got one for her anniversary, and refuses to work. My dad offered her an admin job at his company, but she hated sitting for so long. She immediately started crying at the table, causing us to cut dinner short. My parents are trying to not take sides, but have recently asked me to apologize because my sister's been making social media posts about me weaponizing her poverty and being a bully. By the way, to call herself poor is honestly a slap in the face to people actually facing poverty. She lives in a gated community in my parents' home. She refuses to come to my mom's birthday party next week if I don't say sorry. I feel like she deserved it, but I can tell my mom's upset. By the way, the boundaries my sister says that result in me manifesting negativity are things like me turning down a date on the 4th of July weekend because I own a bakery. It's a huge weekend for my business, requiring me to be all hands on deck, pumping out pies and pastries. Am I the idiot for weaponizing my sister's poverty during a family dinner? Well, maybe if you manifested a job, you wouldn't be fighting with Tom over child support payments. Holy crap. What a good burn, though. Not the idiot and heroic. I usually try to keep peace, but you shouldn't throw stones from a glass house. The only way I would apologize is, "I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. Don't come at my life and I won't come at yours. We're sisters, I think. Can we please just get along for mom's sake?" If that's not good enough, then I'd say, "Fine, your problem. Don't bother me until you grow up. Don't dish it out if you can't take it." Yes, that burn was epic, and deserved, honestly. Not the idiot. Your sister seems jealous. I'd speculate because you exerted yourself to make your business successful and consequently can be financially independent. In contrast, she's wholly financially reliant on your parents and her ex. You didn't weaponize her poverty. You observed it. I don't think you owe her an apology. The thing is, can you imagine what she'll do when OP does find themselves in a long-term relationship, possibly marriage? Then it'll be sister upset that OP has it all, a thriving business and a relationship, and how she's rubbing her nose in it just through sheer presence. This is the thing OP's sister can dig in on to feel better about herself. Exactly. Divorced, unemployed, living with mom and dad, using child support as salary, jealous of others. Why hasn't she been able to manifest a positive love story? OP, I suggest you think about one thing, though. You right, sister tries to live off of her child support payments by staying with my parents. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Respectfully, yes, there is something wrong with that. Child support is meant to support kids, not exes. Your sister's being unfair to the children if she uses their money to support her needs. She needs to get a job, as grown-ups do. My parents called for a family meeting last Sunday and said they were realizing that we didn't have the happy little tight-knit family they had expected to have. They expressed that we had all been closer when we were kids. For context, it's me, male teen, my brother James, younger teen, and my brother Easton, tween. But now it felt like we never spent time as brothers, especially James and I, and that sharing a room, they would have expected more from us. My parents said they wanted us to all be totally open and honest about how we felt and to express if we had any issues with the family to get out of the way. They said they weren't going to take a turn until all three of us spoke first, and we couldn't leave until we opened up and said everything. I told them I felt like they had somewhat unrealistic goals, that they ignored some stuff that had been mentioned to them in the past, that they would have made the lack of closeness less of a surprise, and that it was weird for them to pretend they had no idea of anything going on. I admitted that I hated sharing a room with James, that personality-wise, he and I clash, and he relies too much on being the younger brother and getting his own way, which annoys me. I said I had told them this before. James will set up these sleepover nights for him and me on the floor, and he'll expect me to play football outside with him until it's close to midnight, and then go in and watch movies that bore me to tears and sleep in our sleeping bags instead of our beds. I said he started insisting we do things he enjoyed when we were like 8 or 10, and ever since that point, hanging out with him has not been fun for me. It has not made me feel closer to him. I admitted that I'd rather share with Easton. I also said I'd brought this stuff to my parents' attention before, and even complained when he was messing up my side of the room and left me to clean up, which my parents expected me to do instead of him. I also mentioned that I hate hanging out with his friends, with whom I have nothing in common. I told my parents they overlooked James being mean to Easton. It might be due to jealousy and resentment that I'm closer to Easton, or it might be due to Easton being the youngest, but they'd never let me say to James what James can say to Easton. I also said they treat us like we're little kids. They'll tell us to go hang out with much younger kids and do their activities at family houses, and they'll tell us no video games until we play outside, and that even after all these years of knowing me, they still can't accept that I don't like sports, and it's not my idea of fun to kick a ball or run around, and it never has been. James was upset about the stuff I said about him, especially not wanting to hang out with him and his friends. My parents were furious with me and said I had no right to say all that. I said I was doing what they asked, and they said that wasn't what they asked for. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your parents didn't think this through. You did, though. If you had a therapist in the room, they would have applauded you for getting to the heart of the matter, as long as you weren't gratuitously cruel to your middle bro in how you said it, such as name-calling, contemptuous looks, etc. You deserved an A+ here. You understood the assignment perfectly and were open and honest. Parents, tell us everything and be honest, and you're not leaving until you do. OP leaves it on the table. Parents, how dare you tell us all that in that way? Also, you're grounded for being honest. Ugh, maybe they shouldn't be asking questions they don't want honest answers to. Your parents were fools to think a conversation like that would ever go well. I guess they just like pretending that you're one big happy family. You were supposed to lie to preserve the illusion. They're entirely wrong for being upset with you. Truth hurts sometimes. Sorry your parents suck. You are the idiot, my dude. This isn't James's fault. If he really is the golden child, he's been messed up by your parents. And if it's more so a personality clash, as you said, then hey, he's a young teen and they're annoying. And I hate to break it to you, OP, but 10 years from now, you'll think kids your age are annoying too. Your parents are the ones who need to adjust here. It's not right for them to put all this stress on your relationship with your brothers, and in fact, their doing so will probably result in a bigger wedge being driven between you and James. He's still a kid, and the relationship is definitely salvageable. My daughter is 23, and she requested dinner with us because she had something important to tell us, my wife and I. She introduced us and came out. My wife was emotional, gave her a big hug and told her how proud she was. On the other hand, I didn't react to her coming out. I didn't care about that part. I was honest. Her partner was cool, and she was very interesting. My wife told me I was rude for ignoring our daughter's announcement. I told my wife I didn't care who she was attracted to. All I cared about was if she was happy. I tried to explain that I didn't care about that stuff. People like who they like, and I don't need labels. Love is love. She said my view is slightly phobic because it shows I'm not acknowledging a different perspective. I do not see it that way. Am I the idiot? Should I apologize to my daughter and her partner? Edit. For added context, I didn't treat her situation as any different from her brother's. I took the time to get to know the person they were with. My wife feels I should have treated it differently because they are different situations. Ignoring that fact does not help. Not the idiot. I will never understand what is phobic about people treating gay children precisely like they treat straight children. Isn't that the ideal that we're striving for? When I came out to my parents, they said, "That's nice, dear." It didn't change my relationship with them. That's how it should be. It might seem weird if one parent gives the child a hug and the other just sits there saying nothing to acknowledge what was said. People don't have to do a big to-do, but I think that maybe matching the energy and giving her a hug too would have been better. Your wife's reaction was lovely and validating. Man, I don't know why everyone expects a parade when they come out. If OP went above and beyond, she'd probably say Dad is mocking her. LOL. Sometimes you can't win. OP, your wife needs to treat your daughter like her preference is normal. Overcompensating can be just as bad a reaction because it highlights the difference. My brother and soon-to-be sister-in-law are getting married soon, and since my sister-in-law and I are very good friends, she chose me as her maid of honor. My sister-in-law wants to have 7 bridesmaids, and she chose 6 people that are close to her, but couldn't find the 7th one, so she asked for my opinion on who it should be. She was considering my daughter, nearly adult, and niece, teen, since my brother's close to both girls and loves them very much, so she wanted to include one of them. I suggested she ask my niece for several reasons, such as my niece is younger and always wanted to be a bridesmaid and never had the chance. My daughter's not the girly type and wouldn't enjoy it, while my niece is extremely girly and loves these things. Unlike my daughter, my niece is extremely beautiful, the supermodel kind of beauty, and would look good in the photos. My daughter, however, called me an idiot when she found out, and is now refusing to attend the wedding. You are the idiot. Why on earth would you not pick your own daughter? If she doesn't want to do it, she's nearly an adult and can tell her aunt no thank you. Then your niece could step in. My niece is extremely beautiful, the supermodel kind of beauty, and would look good in the photos. My heart hurts for your daughter after reading this. You didn't say it, but you just implied your daughter's ugly with this line. Shame on you, Mom. Your cousin is way prettier than you, and you just mess up the pictures with your ugliness. Oh God, it sounds similar to something my narcissistic mother actually did say once. It really shows how low you think of your daughter. You literally gave her reasons why your niece is better than your daughter, and you seriously thought she wouldn't get upset? A total misread on the situation, and good luck trying to explain this to your kid. With a mother like you, your daughter will never need enemies. And I need therapy, LOL. I'm the daughter in this situation. It's been at least 30 years, and it still stings. If you look carefully and closer, you'll see this is a pattern for you. If you take the time to look back, you'll see that you've always put your daughter on the back burner while still expecting full loyalty and respect from her. You can do no wrong, and she's just ungrateful and doesn't realize how hard you had it. You are the idiot, not just for this, for every single thing you did willfully that lets you feel comfortable choosing someone over the child you expect undying love and loyalty from. I, female 32, am 37 weeks pregnant and was at my obstetrics appointment yesterday with my husband, male 33. This is our first child, and I've been quite lucky so far with the pregnancy, but I have been having some unaccounted for pain, which is making me quite concerned. I went to the ER 4 days ago, and the doctor on call checked me out and told me it was safe for me to go home, but that I should bring it up at my routine appointment, seeing as it was so soon, yesterday. Obviously, this has my husband and I quite nervous, so I was hoping for some answers when we saw the obstetrician. When I walked into my appointment with my husband, it was the usual doctor, female 40s, and a younger girl, 20s, I hadn't met before. The younger girl was introduced as a trainee midwife who would be listening in on the appointment. I didn't have an issue with this, although it would have been nice to have been asked, rather than having this sprung on me. Never mind, the appointment carried on. The student midwife was not at all confident in what she was doing. It was clear that I was one of the first patients she had seen, and she was very shaky and shy. Again, there are no issues. We all need to learn somehow. My actual issue arose when describing the pain to the doctor and how it feels like I can't breathe when it hits. The student midwife started laughing when I said this, but the doctor gave her a stern look and she stopped. Then as I continued with my description and an overview of what happened in the ER, the student midwife said, almost to herself, "I've never seen a stillbirth before." I say almost to herself because it seemed to come out of her mouth unconsciously and almost as if she was thinking it and didn't realize she had said it. But I got very upset. I looked the student midwife right in the eyes and told her to get out. She looked like a deer in headlights, but I stood up and told the doctor that one of us was leaving, and if it wasn't going to be the midwife, then it would be me. My doctor asked the midwife if she could please leave the room, and she was quite apologetic with me, but told me to be understanding because the student midwife was still young and learning. My husband supported me and told the doctor we didn't want to see the student midwife again. The rest of the appointment carried on like usual, but I called my mom, 67, in tears when we were in the car. I felt like I had held it together in the hospital, but I wanted to vent to my mom. She shocked me, though, by saying that I had been unfair to the student midwife and that she needed these learning opportunities so that she could develop a bedside manner. Now I feel a little bad about my reaction and wonder if I was the idiot. Jesus, not the idiot. Why didn't the OB-GYN kick her out after she laughed at your symptoms, then implying that your baby was gonna die? You probably could have decked the girl and you still wouldn't be the idiot. If anything, you taught her a great lesson. Maybe she should look into a different line of work. Second this, she's not entitled to learning opportunities if she can't shut her trap. Having tact is also part of her training, and until she learns it, she needn't be in any appointments. I'm very disappointed your regular doctor didn't throw out that student. That was absolutely a disgusting thing for her to say. Your mother is being ridiculous. You can't train a bedside manner onto someone who laughs at pain and gets excited by the idea of, well, you know. I'd be horrified if someone I was supervising said something so awful. That's the type of comment I'd report to their educational program. Honestly, I hope that girl is kicked out of the midwife program. She has the wrong temperament. Hope everything's okay with you and your baby, and good luck with the birth and parenthood.